like CEO of examples. I love it. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I am so excited because this video is being filmed on my new camera. Very first video on my new camera, and I'm so excited. It looks so good, and I don't know, I'm just like very excited. I will leave in the description the kind of camera that I got. I did upgrade. I'm no longer recording on my iPhone. Yes, let's thank the heavens that Raven got an upgrade. Anywho, today's video, I'm already sure you know by the title, is for you guys because I care. Because I can't be out here knowing that you guys are tired, because I have been tired before. Trust me, it's normal and it's actually avoidable. If you suffer from any mental illness, there's a lot of people just like me that suffer from anxiety or maybe depression or honestly anything, PTSD. There's so many different mental illnesses that can affect us and cause us to be exhausted or burnt out in other ways. But this video could help quite a lot of people who are feeling like they're headed towards burnout from work, from being an entrepreneur, from being a parent, a mom, a dad, a student, anything. There's so many things, and honestly, no thing is greater than the other on why you're exhausted, and nobody has the right to tell you that you are not exhausted. If you feel like you are headed towards burnout, you're tired, you're getting sick of doing what you're doing every single day, it's clear signs that I'm gonna talk to you about today that you could avoid hitting that wall. First things first, you have to address it. It doesn't matter what you're doing, who you are, what your job is, what your role is. It's perfectly normal to get burned out, but you're gonna have to address it. You have to address it. Now, if you're anything like me, I'm a workaholic. A lot of people are workaholics. We don't sleep until a task is finished. Even if you are not an entrepreneur like me and you work in corporate America or you work any job, it's really hard to go home knowing that you left a lot of stuff unfinished. So you usually cause yourself to overwork. Even if it's not you, because some people are like, girl, I don't care about that job. But even if you're at work and you have a lot of pressure on you for deadlines or to complete certain things, that really can take a toll on you, especially if you feel like you're undervalued where you are and you're not being fairly compensated for the extra amount of work you're putting in. Now, I'm gonna give you some sure signs that you are tired. Number one, you complain a lot, or you even cry about it. This is a sure sign that you are tired of what you're doing, you're becoming hopeless, and you're just exhausted. Now, what I mean by complaining is not, oh my God, I hate that job, I don't wanna go back tomorrow. I feel like a lot of people just hate working and they just generally complain. But if you honestly get to the point where you're crying, like you don't want to get up and go to work tomorrow, you dread going to work and you haven't even left work yet, like you are just altogether feeling so crappy about getting up and doing the task before it even begins. Whether it's work, whether it's being a parent, like you put your child down and you know when they wake up, all HE double hockey stick is gonna break loose and you're gonna be tired again. You feel like the moments where you get to breathe, it's not enough. You're gonna be burned out before you know it. Another sign that you are headed towards that wall is your performance is starting to decrease. Your performance is a bit poorer than it used to be. You are not performing at the level you normally would. Maybe you're in a relationship, even a marriage, and you feel as if you are not giving 100% to your partner like you used to. And your partner may not have done anything wrong per se, but you could just be tired. You could definitely need some much needed time to yourself, some self-care, whatever. You are feeling like you're taking care of somebody. You're feeling like you're just overwhelmed with everything in the situation. this is a sign that the wall is coming. You're about to hit it and you need to slow down. I feel like you don't necessarily put forth the effort like you used to. You're not, as excited about the things that you used to do. You don't look forward to it at all. That's a sign. Another one, and this is kind of a big one that usually hits home for me. I noticed that I'm getting near a time where I need to take a break. You're starting to feel overwhelmed, anxious, or even restless. Now, what I mean by that, obviously a lot of people have experienced anxiety. Me personally, you may notice that you're experiencing more anxiety attacks, more panic attacks, and usually there's this overwhelming feeling that you are being drowned in things that you just cannot handle right now. Normally, you're able to handle them perfectly fine, but for some reason, you're just overwhelmed. You're just extremely overwhelmed right now, and you just feel like you can't handle another moment of life. You're even restless to a point where you're not getting any sleep because you're up overthinking. You're just tossing and turning. Your brain is racing. Your thoughts are all over the place, and you honestly cannot even focus on one thing at a time. Do I need to say it? You're getting close to burnout. Now, taking it even a step further, maybe you're not restless. Maybe you are actually oversleeping. Some people will actually oversleep as a coping mechanism. You will oversleep because you simply just want to escape reality. You feel like life is a lot better when you're sleeping and avoiding everything else in the outside world. You feel like if you're home in your bed, you're safe. Safer there than facing reality. And this can become kind of a downward spiral where you are starting to kind of lose focus on reality, priorities, the outside world. You're taking a step back from things that you know you should be doing, and you're choosing to just kind of waste away in the bed or sleeping. And it is something that people do often without noticing. A lot of people do this when they're grieving. A lot of people do this during breakups. A lot of people do this without even noticing, and it can become a little toxic. Another sign, and this is kind of the most extreme one, that you are headed towards burnout is actual physical illness. Now, this one obviously is like the final phase before you realize that you need to get help. And hopefully you don't get to this point. Not everybody gets to this point, but physical illness can take place whether you're feeling like, the even thought of something that you want to avoid makes you sick to your stomach. It makes you nauseous. It makes you actually vomit. It gives you headaches and migraines, and it just makes your body ache. This is possible. I kid you not. People do go through this when they are just getting to a point of extreme exhaustion, overwhelmed, and you could even faint. You could even pass out. It is definitely possible for you to start noticing this burnout physically and not just mentally. Now, obviously, all of that sounds so awful, and I personally believe that you should not ignore your mental or physical health, and there are ways to avoid this or to seek help for it. I will give you guys a few ways that you can combat those symptoms and signs with some very easy coping mechanisms. Number one, you need to start setting boundaries. I cannot tell you how much of an impact boundaries are when it comes to these signs. Usually these signs are occurring because of how the outside world or how somebody else has influenced you. Granted, some people do have mental battles that they're going through that aren't triggered by anybody, and honestly it's just like a chemical brain reaction. I don't know, but a lot of the times you can truly contribute your stress to something or somebody else. So when I say set boundaries, I'll give you real life examples. I'm like CEO of examples. I love it. You can also set boundaries with the people around you. If you're in relationships or friendships that you feel are weighing down on you mentally, it's time to start setting boundaries. It's time to start keeping people at arm's length, because people will take advantage of you and they will use you and use you and use you until you're gone. And honey, you can't pour into somebody else's cup if yours is empty. You have to kind of just stop picking up the phone for people, stop texting people back. That just may be what you have to do. But you're going to have to start setting some type of boundary and some type of limit that this is your personal space and your personal bubble and your personal mental bubble, that it cannot be penetrated under any circumstances. And I promise you, you will see the difference when you start telling people and things that you are not here for the BS anymore. Another thing that I recommend to help you to cope with those things is to find somebody that you can be transparent with. I'm not saying you need to be on Facebook telling everybody your business. Keep your business off of social media, honestly. Honestly, stop telling people your business. Find someone or something that you can be transparent with. For me personally, and this is how I deal with things, is my person is God. My shirt says heavy on the thank you God. Y'all might have seen this shirt before in a very early video, but my go-to person is God. Me personally, it's Jesus. That's my go-to person. I have my prayer closet and I take everything to God in prayer. That's the only way that I do it. And my boyfriend, I tell him everything. But honestly, God is a heart fixer and a problem solver. So I know that once I get it all out in like deep, ugly, crying, sobbing prayer, I will feel better afterwards. And usually God will tell me how I need to move forward or move about the thing that was causing me stress. Some people have this same form of release through journaling. Maybe you need to start writing things out. Maybe you need to start just putting pen to paper and let it flow, let the emotions flow, whatever it is, just get it out in some way. Find some way to express yourself. So you don't necessarily have to find a person you could be transparent with, but maybe find a thing that you can really let it all out, and that's where you get to express yourself. But again, like I said, my boyfriend and Jesus are my transparent person, so they're my person. I go to them with everything and I almost always feel better afterwards. Another tip that I would give to you for coping with these things, and I give this one because a lot of our problems stem from this. You are going to have to unplug. You're gonna have to take a step back from social media, from Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, YouTube, whatever you need to do, you are gonna have to unplug from it and maybe start spending more time with real life things that bring you joy, whether it is your pet, your loved ones, your friends, your family, whether it is that form of expression that you have, that's journaling, praying, music, art, whatever makes you happy is what you need to start doing more. Because a lot of times when we're getting overwhelmed and we're on that journey to burnout, we start putting the things that make us happy on the back burner, and eventually they just get forgot about, and we only start to focus on the things that are negative, forgetting that we have a whole world of happiness. But when you're kind of in the midst of these situations, you really choose not to focus on the things that make you happy, because a lot of us, we like to wallow in our problems. Is that a word? Did I use that word right? I don't know. We like to soak up all of the negativity because we just feel good being sad. I know that sounds weird, but a lot of times we feel like there's no way to find any joy or pleasure in anything else, forgetting that there are things that really do make us happy. And that's kind of where you have to center and focus on and let that fuel you. And if it means that you have to take a spiritual fast from all of the social media, when you unplug from social media, I promise you, you are going to feel 10 times better. When you do not have the eyes of everybody else on you, when you're not trying to please other people, when you are not focusing on what other people have and comparing yourself to this other stuff, you're going to be in a lot better of a place afterwards. And you can feel free to go back to social media after a week, 2 weeks, a month, even not at all. But you are gonna have to unplug and really find yourself again and see where your happiness comes from in the real world. world. Granted, that might not be everybody's issue. You might not, you know, be sad from social media. I'm not saying that applies to everybody, but it does apply to a lot of people in today's society and generation. We are very, very focused and hung up on social media. We spend most of our day on our phones and on social platforms that our reality is so discombobulated that we don't even know who we really are anymore. And I promise you, when you start setting the boundaries with social media and taking a step back from all of those followers and those people and realize that the stuff on there is not even real half the time, I swear to you, things change. And my last tip for you, it might sound like it's easier said than done, but I want you to really ask yourself, can the stress be removed? If not, how can you share the workload? Or how can you temporarily disable this stress? Now, if the stress can be removed, say you're in a friendship with somebody for a while and you notice that they're just draining all your energy and they're toxic, you can remove that stress. You can literally stop being friends with somebody. It sounds dramatic, but if it's costing you your peace, you're gonna have to snip, snip, cut them off. If it's like parenthood, obviously you can't get rid of that stress, but is this a stress where you can share the workload? If you and a partner are parents to this child, then obviously there's a way to share this workload. If you are a single parent, then it might be a little harder to share the workload. So then how can you temporarily disable that workload? The workload being the child. You definitely can find multiple ways to give yourself a break. It's not impossible, but it is gonna be a little harder when you're a single parent because finding support is not always the easiest for people, but a lot of people can get support. Whether that support is somebody you know or if that support is daycare. However you have to cope with this, you're going to have to make some sacrifice to get yourself back on track. Even if you're just doing daycare for, you know, a month just so you can have a few more hours in the day to really find yourself again, that may be what you have to do. If your stress is work, maybe you can go to your higher ups or whomever and ask, how can you de-stress, or how can you minimize this workload to where it's not so overwhelming? If you're an entrepreneur like me, it's kind of hard when you are the boss of all things, then maybe it's time that you put your business on hold for a week and take a vacation. I promise you the business will still be there, but you won't be if you keep hitting this wall of burnout. It is okay to put things on hold while you find yourself and get back on track. I promise you, nobody's gonna be mad. Friends, I'm telling you this all because I love you, all because I don't want to see you fail, all because I've been there and it's not fun digging yourself out of that hole again and again and again. So if you can totally avoid it, then I highly, highly recommend that you try some of these and that you acknowledge these things if you feel like there's signs of burnout for you. If I missed anything, definitely let me know. If you feel like you're dealing with something that's super specific, definitely let me know on Instagram, send me a message. I'd be so happy to talk to you because it's important. Mental health is important. Don't let anybody tell you that it's not. I got you. I'm with you. I believe in you and all that you do. Love you. See you next time.